Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We hope that you enjoy today's sermon by our pastoral staff at Christpoint Church. We also want you to know that if you have any questions, prayer requests, or need information on any of our ministry opportunities, you can email us at www.info@christpoint.church. We love you and we are praying that this will be the best year yet. Welcome home.
They just showed me love, and like I said, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, what's the deal here? This is kind of weird. Why do these people show me so much love? And then I realized that they were Christian, and that they were showing me the love of God. So we, like I said, we went to, it was in Naples, and then they took me on their annual trip to the Keys with them, and it was just amazing. One of the best experiences I've ever had. And it was awesome. Yeah. It was truly awesome.
Compliments of Jesus.
Right. All glory goes to God there. And that was just one of the instances that this is my turning point of thinking maybe there is a God. Maybe they opened my eyes a little bit. Through the Bible tells us in Luke 6, I believe, 6:46, Jesus says it. You say you love me, but don't do as I say. And these people were doing precisely what he said, and they were showing the love, and it was amazing. So I really started to, and that was just one instance while I was in Florida. I remember I had moved away from Naples. I was in Central Florida. I was in Lakeland area, Bartow. I was working this. I just got this job. So I'd ride a bike about 11 miles and then ride a bus. Well, I'd ride it 4 miles and then get on the bus and then ride 7 miles after I got off the bus to this job. I didn't know the job was 12, 15-hour days. So when I first got on the bus and rode down there, everything was good. When I got off work, the buses weren't running, and I was 20 miles away from home. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I remember I called my mom. I said, Mom, I'm stranded. I don't know. She said, well, let's just pray. I wasn't really too convinced that saying a prayer is going to help me. I'm 20 miles from home with a bicycle, I wasn't sure that was the true answer there.
Listen, I know people that's been saved 20 years still do that to this day.
Right.
Yeah.
So we prayed. We're sitting there praying, and this guy, I don't know if he overheard it or he seen me there late or something, but he's like, man, you need a ride? And I said, yeah, but I live in Lakeland. He's like, well, I don't know if I can take you that far, buddy, but I got a shower, and you can wear some of my clothes until we get you some clean clothes tomorrow. I was like, cool. So he gave me a ride to his house, and so I walked in, and I seen a sign that says, as for me and mine, we will serve the Lord. So here's the love of God again.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Starting to realize that this isn't a coincidence, As Christians, we don't believe in or we don't subscribe to coincidence. Everything happens for a reason,
Right. Yep.
And it was just awesome. It truly was awesome. For I'd say about 2 years, things were good. I managed to get off opiates and meth, marijuana, but never fully comprehended the love of Christ. I got baptized while I was down there. I thought I truly gave my life to God, but maybe that urge to want to get high, that euphoria, was still there a little bit. So in 2014, I was working that concrete job still, and my sister called, and she said that she was going to get married in Reno, would I like to come out? And I said, absolutely. So I bought a plane ticket, and I flew out to Reno. And things were cool out there. It was a beautiful place. The sun's always shining. It's just beautiful out there. So we stayed out there for a week or a week and a half, however long it was. And they asked me before I left, they said, Mikey, are you going to move out here? Or when do you plan on? I said, well, I don't know. I got a good thing going in Florida. I'm probably going to stay down there. So I flew home. And it was a little bit of a lie. It wasn't the best thing. The money was good, but at that time I was living by myself in an apartment. It's kind of lonely, kind of depressing, So I called them and I said, y'all still want to help me, move out there? And they said, yeah. So they sent me a little money. It was payday. I remember I got paid about lunchtime. I went and cashed my check and I quit right at lunchtime. I never went back. And I went home and I picked up some money from Walmart that they had sent plus my check, and I packed everything that I had. all my belongings were I didn't have much. They were probably inflatable, if I remember correctly. I had an inflatable couch, an air mattress, maybe a little TV, a microwave. But I met some friends in the neighborhood, so I gave away anything that couldn't be packed in a little quesadilla. I packed all my clothes and all my blow-up furniture, and I started driving. I drove from Daytona to Reno. It was about 2,400 miles. And talk about spur of the moment. It was a little crazy. Once I got on the road, I was like, man, this is probably not a good idea. This thing doesn't have cruise control, and I'm not sure it can make it. But I'm going to try it anyway. Yeah. And by the grace of God, it did.
Yep. So you get there, still getting a little wild.
Right.
Have an accident.
Right. Have a off-roading accident, actually, in 2016. I don't know if any of y'all noticed my hand. In 2016, I flipped it side by side. It wasn't like it flipped multiple times. We were right in the middle of a donut, and I felt my butt starting to lift up out of the seat, so with signs everywhere, I felt like a real dummy. There's signs everywhere, keep your arms and limbs on the inside of the vehicle. So as it starts to flip, it's not like it's just a normal car seatbelt. It wasn't like a 4-point harness or anything. I feel my butt starting to lift up out of the seat, and I thought, all right, I'm gonna put my hand up here. And then I thought, maybe I'll pull my hand back in before I hurt myself. But at that point, it was too late. My hand was bent like this, but it was down here. And my wrist bones were sticking up out of the skin, and it broke every bone in my hand. And it was tragic. I remember waking up in the hospital, and the doctor said it's a life-changing injury. It's never going to be the same. And it truly has been. There's little to no I like to say that I can't wipe or type with this thing. Right. It was bad. It was a really bad accident. Right. It was a really bad accident.
We didn't cover that in the pre-interview.
Yeah.
All right. So 2016, this happens.
Right.
2017. Did you have a friend in a car accident?
Yes. Some of y'all might have known her. Kayla Anderson. In 2017, Kayla was hit and killed. She wasn't in a car accident per se, but there was a car-related death. Right. Mm-hmm. She was hit and killed on Charlotte's Pike in Nashville. So Kayla moved down with me in Florida in 2014. She was living down there with me for a little bit, and I guess she just didn't like it too much. Maybe she was ready to come home to the little city. It was a fairly large city. Mm-hmm. So she moved back, and I bought her a bus ticket. And once she got back, I tried calling her, and she didn't speak to me for about 2 years. From 2014 to 2016, I tried finding her on Facebook and sending her messages. She just didn't answer. Maybe she thought I wanted the money back. I'm not sure. So in 2016, obviously being on the run still, I didn't have a Facebook. I remember when I was in Florida, I had a Facebook, and they said, you might tell your brother to stop posting pictures on Facebook, or we're going to come find him. So I cut out Facebook. So she got on my little sister's Facebook and said, if I know Mikey's living with you, tell him that I love him and I want to talk to him. But in my mind, I'm still kind of bitter that she didn't talk to me for 2 years, And I thought, well, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to ignore her for a little bit of time. A year passed, and then I get a call from Terry, my Aunt Terry. And she said, did you know Kayla Anderson? I said, yeah, what about her? She said, well, she's on the news. She was hit and killed in Nashville. So here I am, bitter again, right. Dealing with this unforgiveness again, and then I lose another person,
Right. So you do what you know to do, right? You go to...
Right, I go to getting high, and I think I might have been getting high prior to that. I was probably high when I had the accident in 2016. Mm-hmm. The struggle with drugs is real. Yeah. It's a serious problem. And so I just really was getting really high, and I really wanted to hermit up. I remember seeing my shadow in the store parking lot, and just it's not a pretty sight. When it took me a while to really. So I was starting to deal with a little bit of depression, a bit of loneliness, all these things that are going through my mind. It was hard. It was hard.
Right. So this is in Reno at the time. So Mom's coming back though to Tennessee.
Right. So we skipped something in 2016. Beginning 2016, my nephew David was born.
Yeah.
I think he's little guardian angel of sorts, you know. He so he was born in February. My accident was in June of 2016. So even though I was stuck at home, I realized that I was able to raise him. You know, I was able to be there every step of the way, bottle feeding him. So instead of feeling depressed and stuff, I felt loved. You know, I felt like I had a purpose, and things were good. So as he got to be a little older, my sister started using some hard drugs, which methamphetamine is pretty hard, you know, but there's a true killer out there in heroin. Heroin is really extreme. It doesn't. I personally have never heard of anybody overdosing off of meth. Not to say that's not possible, but a lot more often you hear about people overdosing on heroin. So her and her husband were using quite a bit. For them, money was never an issue. They've got more money than sense, I'd like to say sometimes. So they were constantly high. So even when they were there, they were never really there at all. They were nodding off, or they were in the bathroom for a couple hours at a time. So I remember telling my mom about this and trying to tell my brother-in-law's parents about this, but they never really grasped how serious it was. So Mom finally came out and seen it for herself.
Yeah.
Right.
So Mom sees it. Mom's taking the kids back. Actually, Mom's flying back.
Right. Mom's flying back.
But Mikey's not flying back.
No, I'm not taking that chance. I know there's a warrant, or there's something out there, and I'm not going to get on a plane and have them waiting for me when I get off the plane. So they come back on November 6th of 2018, and I pack my little car up again. This time it's a little SUV, so I know I can sleep in it, and it'll be a lot better ride. And I drive back across country, knowing there's a warrant, and there's probably going to be, if I try to get a job when I get back, there's probably going to be some issues there with my Social Security number being in the system. So what do?
Might as well sell drugs.
Might as well go back to selling drugs. You know, it's great money. It's great money. And I felt I could I left the state in 2012 to get away from pain pills. It probably wasn't the best, but I haven't touched it. I don't even eat Tylenol, I'm strictly against pills these days. But so it worked, but at the same time, it done the opposite too. So I come back and I'm selling drugs, but never went back to meth or selling pain pills again. It was strictly marijuana or extract or some type of that, so I could kind of justify in my mind. On the West Coast, they're starting rehabilitation programs to get people off of opiates and this type of thing using marijuana. So I was like, well, Tennessee's kind of backwards. They're still in the Stone Age, and it's okay for me to be out here helping people with medicinal marijuana. These people.
But again, police.
Right. These people need my help.
Yeah.
So
Mike the hero.
Right.
Meets. Okay, so you get pulled over.
Right. That didn't last long.
Right.
So like I said, I made it back about November 9th. And March 4th of 2019, I get pulled over again on my way to Cookeville. I just passed the Putnam County line. And he pulls me over for tailgating. I think he might have been profiling me a little bit. Who's to say? I don't know. So he pulls me over for tailgating. He said I got too close to the vehicle. And so once I get pulled over, he runs my name and stuff. I still had a Florida license at that point. I was hoping that nothing would show up. I had previously got pulled over with the Florida license, a vehicle registered in Tennessee, but it had a Tennessee tag with a Nevada registration. So it was like 3 different states, and the cop just didn't. He's like, "What's going on?" So he let me go. The state trooper let me go, even though I knew I had a warrant. So this cop, not so much. He ran my name, and he come back and he said, "Well, you have a warrant." I said, I did know that. Okay. So he said, "I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle." So he stepped out of the vehicle and said, "Is there anything in here we need to know about?" I said, "Yeah, there probably is something in here you need to know about." And it wasn't good. It was 2 ounces of marijuana extract and scales, and it was all broke down and ready for individual sale.
Oh, wow. Okay, so not only are you got the violation that you're going to serve time on for sure.
Right.
Now you got new charges.
Right. Now I caught new charges.
Okay, so they're piled up. But tell us about sitting in the back of the cop car.
Right. So I remember thinking, man, what am I going to do? I felt really bad, honestly, because, like I said, my nephew David, he was actually with me. And I had another friend that was with me. So they let her drive the car home. But so I'm sitting in the back of the cop car thinking, what's Mom going to do? in my mind, I felt like I was really helping, and I was probably hindering. So I'm sitting in the back of the cop car. What am I going to do? I need money, and then it hit me. I can get this over with now. It's time to face this giant and put it behind me.
Wow, some relief.
Right.
So how many of y'all can testify to, man, when you finally get to a place where you just give it up or just give it to God, just the amount of relief that comes over you, no matter where you are when you do it. That's his cop car experience.
Right. It was.
All right. So real quick, we're going to try to blast through a couple of things because I want you to finish up with some questions here. But you're in jail. You you meet a guy.
I made a savior, to say the least. This guy, his name is, if I remember correctly, it's Orozco Cardone. I know this is being recorded. If you're listening, maybe you're on Facebook somewhere. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this guy was a pastor.
Yeah.
He was.
Thank you for real.
He was an illegal immigrant, so his English was kind of broken, but nonetheless, he was there to help me and guide me step by step. He was awesome. Great guy. Okay,
so the story about the pastor, though, is he gives someone, and he's illegal, so he gives someone a different name. Well, the name that he gives is wanted. All right.
Right. So somebody done something,
yeah.
And the real person that done the crime, when they come looking for what they found was somebody using his name.
Yeah.
So
he's in jail for Mikey.
Right. That's how I felt.
Yeah. All right. So he comes in. He starts to minister to you.
Right.
And then, of course, you get to go to Teen Challenge, right? So
it was a blessing.
Another blessing. Like this, God's been blessing. All through this whole story. You see different places where God's just intervened. And now he is again. He's picking up new charges, which gives him another 3-year sentence on top of his other 3-year sentence run concurrent. Which, so he can go to Teen Challenge with this, and which is a 70. Tell us about Teen Challenge.
Right. So Teen Challenge. A lot of people might think of it as a rehab, but those of us who have graduated, as well as the staff members or any director, it's not a rehab. It's a discipleship program. So Teen Challenge is strictly faith-based. It's not 12-step. Nothing against 12-step, but it's a great program. True men of God. And Teen Challenge was in Louisiana. So the first 4 months are pretty strict, which I still implement a lot of those things today. But it's really strict. They micromanaged everything. If you were wondering where you're supposed to be at what time, you can go to the dining hall, and they'll tell you exactly where you're supposed to be at what time and for how long you need to be there. With Teen Challenge, God bless those guys. Their salary is next to nothing. I think they make $75 a week. The staff members, but the stuff that they do is so much. There's so much more to it. They put a lot of. It's priceless. It truly is priceless.
Yeah. All right, so you get through the program. Well, you're not quite through the program though. Whenever you're introduced to Christpoint, because that's the question. How do you meet? How does one meet Christpoint from South Louisiana?
At 4 months, you get a 9-hour break. Of course, I didn't have anybody that's going to drive 10 hours to hang out for 9 hours, so I saved my 9-hour break. And then at 8 months in the program, you get a 4-day break. So I combine the two, and I come home for 4th of July of 2020.
All right, which was our freedom celebration.
Right, that was the first time I met Pastor Steve and Tina. And it was at the freedom celebration. And then I'm not sure if it was prior to or before or after, but the church service of that weekend I was home was the first time I came to Christpoint. Now, the whole time I'm in jail, I remember Mom talking about it and saying that, the church is praying for me and, don't lose hope. And the whole family's praying, the whole church family. And, it was awesome. Yeah. It was awesome to really feel that love,
So you come here, though, and we're doing what? We're making noise with the chair. What are
right.
we
No,
we're doing Story on Point.
Right.
A year ago,
Oh, yeah.
He's watching somebody else do a story on point.
Becca and
Dustin, yeah.
Becca and Dustin,
Actually,
story on point.
It was Becca's story on point.
Dustin doesn't say too much.
Yes.
Right. He doesn't say too much at all.
Oh, man, great people, great story.
Yeah.
So you get to see them. Okay, so then you're out, right? So you get out, and
right. So I got out a little before Thanksgiving of last year.
Right.
I went in the 22nd of 2019, November 22nd, 2019. I completed the program November of 2020. Louisiana's got an 18-month program, though. So the first 12 months are residential. The next 6 months are what they call accountability, or you can intern with them. Mm-hmm. So I came home. I think it was December 2nd. I spent Thanksgiving in Reno, and then came home. And it's been a blessing ever since. So the 6 months I was still enrolled in Teen Challenge, but it was here at home to see how well I could be introduced to society again and get back out in the world as a contributing member instead of instead of a troublemaker.
Yeah. All right, so tell us why. What is it about Christpoint Church that keeps you around?
The feeling of family, everybody kind of knows everybody. You get there and you hear welcome home. Yeah. The love, the Pastor Steve knows just about everybody that goes here. Yeah. If you're in a large family or a large church, you're probably not going to have that type of intimate relationship or that type of compassion from the pastor, because you might not ever meet him the whole time you're there.
He's right about that. And too, if you don't know about our pastors, when you hang out with them, one of the things that they will push you to do is make sure you meet other people, make sure you're connected, make sure you're loving people. It's not just something they do. It's an atmosphere that they create, and that's why we are what we are. Man. All right, so I had a few questions for you.
Right.
And so we call it homework. What else? Yeah, you do.
I remember when John gave his testimony, I remember thinking he's probably going to ask me the same questions, and I've been thinking about it the whole time, and honestly, I never wrote anything down. Yeah. There's too much to say. Cool.
All right, the first one is...
right. For the first question that I thought about a lot, what would I say to a praying family of an addict? I would say a lot. I'd say don't stop praying. Maybe we pray and we don't see the answer to our prayers immediately. Statistics show that 1 in 3 families know somebody or have an active addict in their family. Probably about 30% of everybody out there knows somebody that's struggling with that problem right now. Don't stop praying, Like I said, maybe it seems like our prayers aren't being answered immediately, but just keep in mind that God's got to do multiple things, probably 10,000 different things to answer that one prayer, I remember, like I said, I prayed in Florida for a ride, but it's not like he just answered that prayer by giving me a ride. That guy also had to get that job. He also had to be in the same area. His parents had to meet 20 years ago. So there's multiple things that go into play. So he's doing 10,000 things to answer our one prayer. Give it time. It'll happen. Yep. Don't stop praying. Yep. So the second question was, for those struggling with unforgiveness, what would I say? I would say it's time to face the facts. We don't live forever. We are forgiven, so we too must forgive. There's just too much to say about unforgiveness. Those struggling with unforgiveness, make amends. I've always thought before you can say any type of prayer, how are you going to pray and be angry at somebody or have a broken relationship? Before you can ever have an effective prayer, in my eyes, you've got to fix these problems, You've got to make amends. Same way as God forgave us, we must forgive others.
Yep. And what about number 3? Here's when we talk about life-controlling issues, we're not talking about just drugs.
Right.
Everyone struggles with something in different areas, but what is it that consumes you? What is it the just has control over you that you're dealing with. That's not the question. The question is, what would you say to the people who are struggling with life-controlling issues?
I would say turn that over to God. Some people have trouble with that, turning that addiction over to God. I remember when I was in addiction, I used to think that I'm going to do this forever. I'm going to get high forever. I don't think I'll ever be able to get off of this stuff, It's not a overnight process or an overnight miracle. It takes time. But to those with some type of addiction, like I said, it's not just drugs. It's pornography, eating. There's several addictions. You could be addicted to coffee, addicted to your phone, addicted to cigarettes, whatever it may be that you're struggling with. Give it to God. Know that He's there for you, and He'll help you with whatever you need help with, as long as you just turn it all over to Him.
So the rough life, but a good God.
Amen.
And we went from 1993 to today. There's a whole lot of rough in there. But man, how many times God has been intervening in his life to get through? Now think of your life. Stand.
Hello again, and thank you for tuning in. I pray that today's sermon has spoken to your heart and has ministered to you well. We just want you to know that we have two locations, one at our Sparta campus, our main campus at Sparta on the square in Sparta, and our second campus is at Smithfield behind Ace Hardware. And we would love for you to call Christpoint Church your church home. And if you're viewing this and you can't get in to church and you feel like you want to be a part of the church, then you can always be a part of the church. Just drop us a note and let us know that you enjoy being on board with us. And if you'd like to give and be a part of the ministry, then you can do that by just sending a check to one of the locations at 614 Murphy Street, Smithfield, 13 Liberty Square in Sparta, and we'll get you on the road. We just love you so much, and you can download the Christpoint Church of Tennessee app, and you can give online. So we are real people. We're living real lives, and we're serving a real God. And we just want to tell everyone, welcome home. We're so glad that you tuned in with us. Welcome home.